feedback just from today has just so been incredible. This day two piece, people are saying, folks in the room talked about, yes, virtual, it was all good, but there's nothing like a face-to-face. There's nothing like me being able to get up and go over to that person and say, now, earlier you mentioned, your after-school program. How did you do it? Right there on the spot, you're able to make connection. You're able to network. So this day two piece, was just brilliant. When I think about all of the work behind the scenes, the teams, our collaborative partners coming together has just been phenomenal. This is not about a me, but it's truly been about a we, and really tapping into, how best can we support and build capacity. And so the networking piece of day two piece has just been, a home run.
Right. So have you thought about either strategies to increase the face-to-face meetings or changes that you might want to make?
Wow. Yes. I tell you what, even when I think about, because I'm already up the road thinking about Summit 2023, would love for it to be face-to-face. Would love to, even some of the suggestions that were made, like one of the parents talked about, what about a panel? Having a panel presentation, creating more opportunities, maybe even webinars. When I think about, room for improvements, ways to do it better, the feedback has just been phenomenal. And I think that's what matters to me. It's not enough to just put on a summit. It's not enough to just show up, but how do we keep it relevant? How do we keep it meaningful? How do we have people in the room who say, wow, I can't wait to next year. And we're hearing that. And so in terms of building opportunities for them to come together and to network, and I think people are ready for a face-to-face. So that's exactly where I'm leaning, to give them what they want.
You mentioned impact several times when you were just responding. What has been the biggest impact, or can you talk about any information you received on the impact of the conference on families or the communities or schools?
Yeah. I tell you what, one of the things I noticed, like, for example, on yesterday with the virtual presentations, all you had to do was just look at the chat. The comments in the chat just spoke volumes. You heard people saying, oh, I like that. Could you tell me more? Oh, could you give me your contact information? Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, well, this is what I do. So when I think about impact in the moment, you could clearly see that folks were really in tune, really open and ready to learn. They came with a sense of, wanting to grow and wanting to know. And so when I think about impact, I think about, because you look at it, the way we had the summit set up, of course you have to build in breaks, so we had the concurrent sessions, one at 10, one at 11, and then we came back at 1, and then we had the close. Them folks, they didn't have to come back, but guess what? They did. So, and in fact, I even had one lady who emailed me and said, she was in the session. She thought it ended at 2. She said, I'm getting ready to leave. Is it over? And I'm like, no, use the link from this morning, because the closing session, she didn't understand how to schedule.
Okay.
The closing session was in another room. As soon as she arrived, and you know how I know she was in the room? Because she started making comments in the chat based on what our presenters were saying. So immediate feedback was so obvious, just based on the comments that, people shared in the chat. But even bigger than that, here we are, day 2. So many comments about impact. Folks coming and saying, thank you, workers from the field actually telling us this has been great. And I guess what really resonated with me, and it's such validation in knowing that people are ready for face-to-face. They are ready for the networking piece. They do want to know more. The young lady who talked to me, who was from Beaufort, she's from Beaufort County. She said, her principal asked her, so you're really going to drive all the way over to Charleston? And she said, yes. And she was here so happy. Impact. And she did that not only because of what she experienced on yesterday, but she was hungry for more. She's hungry for the connection. She's hungry for the networking. So impact has just been tremendous. And that's the bottom line for me. Keeping it relevant, keeping it meaningful so that folks want to come back and it sells itself because they know that you're going to provide high quality services.
Do you have any major projects or initiatives in the pipeline?
Wow. I tell you, one of the things, and for me, it's like I want to do so much that I spread myself thin and, reeling myself back. It's not about trying to cover all bases, but being able to offer up opportunities to folks that's going to help strengthen them. And so there are some things that I do have in mind. Like, for example, I would love a library of webinars. There are so many resources out there and people knocking on the doors. How do I make sure that the people we serve are getting what they need? There is like just a smorgasbord of stuff. And so building that resource piece to make sure that there is a website, for example, that provides all of those resources to students, to parents, to educators who are looking to just get better at what they do. And so I would love to strengthen that and just create an avenue by where those resources and services are accessible.
Speaking about having some additional resources and things for parents, do you think you might continue this regional approach to supporting the state?
Yeah, this is a home run. Okay. This is a home run. And I definitely want to give credit to the planning committee made up of not just persons from the different departments at the agency, but we also have a parent engagement liaison from the surrounding districts working at the table with us. And so when you bring everybody together in that light and just sort of kind of brainstorm, how can we feature and make sure that we're offering up services that are relevant and meaningful? And so when this piece came to the table about, let's do a day 2, at first I was like, wow, really? But now that I'm here, I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. And we know we hit a home run because the folks in the room told us so. They're ready for the face-to-face. They're looking forward to the networking on the spot.
Anything else that you want to share or add?
Oh my gosh. I tell you, I understand and know that this work takes all of us coming together. When you have folks at the district level, at the school level, when we have, the departments within the agency, the community partners who are willing to come to the table and work with us, when we have Serve in the mix, who's been just so phenomenal with helping us to map out, how best to meet the multitudes of needs. Oh my goodness, I love it. And that is what inspires me. That is what keeps me going and make me look forward to coming together again real soon.
Keeping it relevant, keeping it useful.
Yeah.
Keeping it applicable.
Yeah.
Thank you.